It's the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to another edition. Episode, what are we on now?
This is 6, Brad.
Episode 6 of the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast.
Man, it is the greatest podcast ever, Brad.
You said that, and you know, at first, because I'm kind of like, I guess you could say I'm modest in a way. And you said that, and I thought, man, that's bold. He's being bold, but you know what? That's wrestling.
It's wrestling.
Yeah, you got to get out there and you got to promote yourself.
And if you don't believe that you're the greatest, get out of the way.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Might as well just go home. We wouldn't have spent a couple of hours in pre-show here.
Yeah, getting everything ready.
Have you been watching NXT lately?
Not since WrestleMania. I have not. Just to be honest, there's this like WrestleMania hangover. I think that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Man, it's like you watch every single Raw, you watch every single SmackDown, and then NXT, and you're catching all this, and then you have the 7-hour WrestleMania, and sometimes you're like, I'm going to keep up because they're giving me something good with the Superstar shakeup.
Right.
But some things fall to the wayside because we do things like go to local shows as well. So it's a lot of wrestling in our lives all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we'll mention a couple local show coming up a little later that we're planning on going to. Of course, we've got your WWE Raw and SmackDown moments today.
Yeah.
We've got your dirt sheets and rumors, and we will get into the shakeup. I want to start off with just one thing real quick that we found out over the last couple of shows. They've been pushing this. All the pay-per-views from now on are going to be mixed.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait like, I guess, 2 months or, however long it was if you're a bigger fan of one or the other, because they're going to mix them. So do you envision going forward that all of the pay-per-views will be mostly championship matches?
Well, I guess it just all depends on the storyline, right? Because the greatest storyline is always going to win because there is great championship matches, and the championships, that's what matters inside the WWE. But it's also, man, these storylines and what these guys give us,
right,
and these gals give us every single week and throughout the storyline. Some of those things are going to come to pass, like, man, Night of Champions, that kind of pay-per-view is going to be good. Money in the Bank, what are they going to do with Money in the Bank? They have all these together. So there's still going to be a SmackDown and a Raw Money in the Bank probably, right? But, how does that all work out? I'm excited to see when they had the brand split years and years ago. They did do some things. You and I were actually talking about this earlier about, do the titles go back and forth between brands? And there was a lot of people that liked it. There was a lot of people that didn't like it. And, of course, it all went away when they put everybody back together. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out.
Well, and this is a spoiler alert, but there is a point in the show where Samoa Joe says he's going to bring the Intercontinental title to another show. So that could happen. It might not, but interesting stuff, because I think that you could see the titles on different shows and going back and forth from here on out.
They would have to do it well, though, because to me, like, don't water down what it is and don't pass the belt around so much that it kind of waters down the champion a little bit.
Yeah.
There's got to be, no matter what the title is, right? Where you're talking about the Raw Universal title or the WWE Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, the U.S. Championship, either tag teams, the women's division, whatever it is, man, you want to have some prestige to that and realize that, when they first win that title, are they going to be beat? What's going to happen, because you get stuff like Carmella, she came in, she won it, but that's kind of like that's a Money in the Bank surprise type thing. So, as long as they don't water it down, as long as they don't make it go by, go to the two different brands too much, hey, I'm all for good sports entertainment wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about it, I wanted to kind of mention this earlier when I brought up NXT too, with the whole shakeup.
Yeah,
is you saw some of those guys show up.
Some?
Well, a lot. Yeah, a lot. There were some, though, that I was maybe kind of questioning a little bit. But the whole landscape of NXT's changed now. There's going to be a lot more new people coming through. And me and you had mentioned that we saw a guy at TakeOver named Ricochet. And so I was watching NXT the other night. Why I brought this all up, really, was because he was on again. And I didn't realize that he had debuted at NXT TakeOver.
Yeah, that was it. Ricochet is a guy that's been around in the scene for a long time in the Indies, and people kind of wondered, was he ever going to really show up to the WWE? Were they going to sign him? What were they going to do with this tremendous talent? And for the way, like, I say this in an all positive way, the way they gutted NXT and brought all those people up to the main roster, that does provide guys like Ricochet, and Adam Cole's still going to be there. Gargano's still going to be there.
And Gargano's the one that I really kind of expected we would see.
I think we all did.
Yeah. So curious if he's not too long from debuting on WWE, but, on the Raw or SmackDown. But not right now.
No, I mean, we're going to go through all the way through the summer, and there's going to be some great storylines because, the next big one coming up would be SummerSlam.
Right.
The next big pay-per-view show, whatever you want to call it. But, what they do when they bring in SummerSlam is, would you see a Ricochet come in because of a personal story or whatever,
Sure.
And, you never know. What it's good to see is that there's still a lot of talent in NXT, right? Still a ton of talent.
Right.
So the storylines are going to be good. The wrestling's going to be good, and it's going to keep us entertained all the way throughout the year.
All right, that was our NXT breakdown for the week. Let's go ahead and move on up to the bigger leagues, I guess you would say, with our breakdown of the Raw and SmackDown stories brought to you by Cadell and Company.
That's right.
It's the top 3 Raw stories.
So, man, with the Raw and the whole Superstar shakeup, Raw and SmackDown really centered around that story, right? Like, who's coming, what's going to happen. But, man, on number 3 on the Raw stories, we got something really good. Check this out.
That's everything that Brock has done. Why don't you come on down here and let's see what your lazy fat ass can do.
So, Samoa Joe had come down basically saying the same thing he had said the week before, that, Roman was trash.
Oh, yeah.
And ran a video montage package of all the greatest hits, I guess you would say, of Brock just beating up on Roman Reigns.
They were greatest hits, all right.
And so that's what, he said that's what Brock can do. But and it was funny. Samoa Joe played that pretty good because when he called him a fat ass, basically, he looked like he was a little bit shocked and mad about that.
But man, the way these two guys are going at it, they're bringing that personal. It feels like personal heat is what I should say. There feels like this personal heat between these two guys because Roman and Joe had a storyline before Joe got hurt. He was gone for a while, so it's kind of like they just picked up right where they left off. And Joe said that. He's like, "Look, man, Brock's beat you down again and again and again, and I'm about to do it too, man." And Joe is a mean, bad dude, man. But, so is Roman. So I'm excited to kind of see what happens there. We're going to talk more about Samoa Joe later as well.
Yeah, I feel like Joe was kind of speaking for us in that moment. like some of us who are a little bit tired of this whole Roman and Brock deal. But another group that got their due was the Miztourage.
They did.
And it was pretty funny because a lot of things happened in our number 2 Raw story. But so we'll kind of set it up for you. It's Miz TV. He brings out the Miztourage, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And and basically they're talking about they're the new NWO. They're better than the NWO.
They're greater than the NWO. And you're just kind of like, well, Miz. It's kind of like me saying this is the greatest podcast of all time, right?
Yeah. Well,
except the greatest podcast. That's actually true.
Yeah.
But they get it, and they start to create this great buzz about it, man. And you're like, okay, maybe I can get behind this.
Well, and they even upstage Kurt because he comes out here and he's like, y'all don't have any say in it.
Right.
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens last week they lost their opportunity to be on Raw. And they hit him with a letter from Stephanie McMahon saying they're actually hired for Raw.
Yeah, and Sammy plays that so well.
Oh, yeah.
He
puts on his glasses.
Little reading glasses, and he's got an email. And,
and
sincerely, Stephanie McMahon, whatever she says. And he's just bouncing around that little freaking Pete dog, man.
Oh, I love Sami Zayn. So The Miz thinks he's one-upped Kurt by this news, right? well, Kurt drops it on him. Hey, you're going to SmackDown.
The Miz, Taraj, and I will do exactly what we did here on Monday Night Raw. Shut your mouths.
When his hand is up,
We will do exactly what we did. We will make SmackDown Live the most must-see television of all time. Shut up.
Whoa. Who said we?
Uh-oh.
The Miz Taraj isn't going anywhere. They're staying. You're going.
So, were you tired of the Miz Taraj at all? Were you sad to see that get broken up?
Well, I don't know if I want to say that I'm sad to see the Miz Taraj broken up, because Miz is a superstar all on his own that really doesn't need the Miz Taraj. At the same time, you kind of wonder what's going to happen to Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. You know, how are they going to continue being on TV, which they may not need to be on TV, especially with all, superstar shakeup. But the Miz Taraj is no more on Raw, and man, there's something big coming for Miz going over to SmackDown.
Forwarding just another night ahead real quick, he ended up doing a video. He didn't show up, but saying that I believe he's showing up next week, right?
Yeah, he'll be there next week.
And does he have a fight lined up?
Well, he's got a storyline, because it was Daniel Bryan that requested the Miz to come to SmackDown.
Right.
And, if you think about what Miz does, he is, him and Daniel Bryan had this fight years ago, and then Daniel Bryan got hurt. But the Miz stole the yes kicks, from him, and so it's really, no surprise that Daniel Bryan's like, hey man, before he stepped down as general manager, my last thing is, Miz, I need you to come this way.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup between Daniel Bryan and the Miz going forward, and trading off on all the moves that he stole. So
but what's going to happen with Sami Zayn and KO all at the same time? And of course, those guys are great by themselves as well. Do they get into the tag team division in Raw? What do they do there, or do they kind of continue that KO is the main fighter and Sami's the the pup that follows him around and barks at everybody, or I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but it'll be interesting to see how these two major players get involved at Raw.
Well, and they could, and we'll probably talk about this with the superstar shakeup that we talk about here in just a second, they could fill a void, because one of the biggest tag teams on Raw is no longer on Raw. So we'll get to that in just a little bit too. Somebody showed up on Raw, though, that blew my mind. That brings us to the number one moment, which made me super happy, because actually the segment was starting to go a little sideways for me, because Jinder Mahal comes out and basically is saying that he's going to be the best thing ever that comes to Raw.
Oh, man, he just says that I'm better than everybody back there. There's nobody back there greater than Jinder Mahal. And, he comes out and, Jinder Mahal is jacked, and he is very combative with Kurt Angle. And basically he says, man, I'm better than everybody. And Kurt says, is that right? You're better than everybody?
Yeah.
You're better than anybody in this locker room? And then he pretty much just puts like the open challenge for the U.S. title out there, because Jinder Mahal is the U.S. champion, right?
Yeah.
He comes out, he's bringing the U.S. title. So what does that lead you to believe? Like, oh, is Seth Rollins going to SmackDown? What's going to happen? They can't have both of those titles, right there. And no, that's not the case. But we get Jeff Hardy, your man, that comes out, and they have a match. And what happens, Brad?
Twist of fate! Twist of fate!
That's it.
Jinder's in the drop zone!
Jeff gonna look to put the exclamation point on it.
Hardy up top!
We're gonna have a new champ.
Jeff
Jinder's way
Hardy.
out there.
Swapped! Ball connecting! Here's the cover! Hooks the inside leg! Jeff Hardy wins the United States title!
Yeah, my boy Jeff Hardy. I was so excited. I kind of thought he would win, and I actually, when he did win, I had another thought that we'll get to in just a little bit too. But I was just excited, because I was not so sure that Jeff Hardy was going to get to come back, after some of the issues that he's had, and his shoulder was hurt, and so he's been out, and then he had some out of the ring issues too. But so glad for Jeff Hardy to come back, and now he's got the U.S. title.
Because you didn't know if he was going to come back with Matt and Bray,
right,
and be part of that. He was going to be Brother Nero and kind of go through this Woken thing.
Yeah,
and he was able, looks like Vince and the guys, put some trust in him.
Yeah.
And said, hey, we know you're going to be okay. You're going to carry some load here. And that's exactly what he did. He comes out, beats the guy. He beats the U.S. champion, Jinder Mahal. The crowd goes absolutely crazy for Jeff. And, man, it was just really fun to see. It was kind of like a blast from the past, man. It's really good stuff.
It was. All right. So any honorable mentions for Raw?
Yeah, we didn't get this one to the top 3, but so there's the podcast top 3 and then there's my top 3, okay? So, because this is just big. I'm a huge Dolph Ziggler fan.
Yes.
I like him, man.
Yeah.
I like what the dude's about. He can work like crazy. And then a guy that I got so excited about was in Drew McIntyre. When he came, he left. He got fired from the WWE. They released him. He was with that terrible faction of 3-man band with Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre, which are back on Raw together again.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see a reunion by any means. But Drew McIntyre, he goes, he gets released. He comes to NXT, and he looks amazing. He is jacked. You're like, whoa, man, this dude is huge.
Yeah.
So way back in the day, Brad, just to, history lesson for just a second, if you don't know it or some of our listeners don't know it, is that Drew McIntyre was called the Chosen One by Vince McMahon. He really was. He was the guy that Vince said, man, you're going to be my champion moving forward, and they would promote that, and he would say that about himself. Well, his career really fizzled out. And so what was really great to see and entertaining is that he gets released, comes back to NXT, he wins the NXT title, and then unfortunately he destroys his shoulder and he gets hurt, but then he makes this awesome appearance on Raw, and I think it's a great pairing with Dolph Ziggler, man. I really do. He looks incredible. I think that's going to be a faction to be dealt with.
Well, my honorable mention is somebody that I think doesn't. I don't think you're too hot on Ronda. Right?
Well, I don't, so I get what they did, though. Okay?
Yeah.
So, Natalya is now on Raw.
Which I like that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
She's kind of fizzled out on SmackDown, I thought.
Yeah, her storyline's kind of gotten stale, so this could really get her going. And she's an awesome veteran, man. She knows how to work. She knows, especially how to get other people over.
Sure.
And that's where she's there for to, I think, help Ronda as she continues to grow and develop, as a wrestler in the ring. Even maybe help her outside the ring with some of these promos and just be there for that. Because actually, what it's going to set up, though. It's going to set up eventually a Ronda versus Natalya match.
Yeah,
and that's
which I like.
Yeah,
I think that's a good matchup for Ronda.
Absolutely.
What I thought was going to be a good matchup for Ronda would have been, what's her name, Seville?
Sonya Deville. Yeah.
Sonya Deville, that's right. Because, she's got that fighter style. Well, they actually hooked up in the ring after they were attacking Natalya. Ronda and Sonya paired off, and she just made quick work of her.
She really did.
I thought it was going to be a little bit of a brawl, and it wasn't. I also kind of had some hopes because the Riot Squad showed up, and I thought for a minute we might get a Liv Morgan and Mandy Rose, like some kind of, them in the same shot at least.
Brad's dream match.
Alexa Bliss, add that, a fatal 3-way. Or I guess make it a fatal 4-way. Put me in it. But yeah, it wasn't to be because Absolution and Riot Squad ended up just trading places, basically.
Yeah, and Riot Squad actually showed up in another good honorable mention, just because to say it, that Bayley and Sasha, we thought we might get that match at WrestleMania of those two, but the heat just kind of continued, and they put on a great match on Raw. It was awesome. I mean, they're going at it. They know each other well. They know how to do that inside the ring, and then the Riot Squad shows up. And one of the things that's not in our rumors and dirt sheets this week, but we can say, is that there's a big push for Riot Squad coming. There's going to be a big push. Their presence is going to be felt on Monday Night Raw.
I could see that. I wasn't so excited about them at first, but I think it was just because the Riot Squad and Absolution they came out at the same time. They were doing the exact same things, and I just didn't understand at the time. There's a lot of things that I look back and I get it now, but at the time I was like,
Yeah, sure.
But I'm a fan of the Riot Squad. I'd like to see them do some more stuff here coming up in on Monday Night Raw. I'm glad that they're on Monday Night Raw. Absolution, not sure what's going to go on with them once they get to SmackDown, but Sonya Deville, she got to go out on the low note.
Well, she's got a whole place to go and wreak her own havoc on SmackDown now on Tuesday nights.
Well, let's get to our SmackDown stories of the week.
Let's do it.
It's the top 3 SmackDown stories.
Yeah, so the SmackDown was really good as well. Continue to the Superstar Shakeup. We got some great stuff because, Paige is actually the new general manager of SmackDown now with, Shane McMahon. He's still the commissioner. He's still involved. And we have Paige who, she was on Monday Night Raw with Absolution. She has to retire. And now she comes over, man, and she is a part of SmackDown. And, man, she is going to be, I think, really instrumental on how SmackDown is laid out. Absolution's a part of that now.
Right.
Ooh, I'm not sure what's going to happen there. And I know we got some top 3 to talk about, but I thought it was really worthy to kick off SmackDown to say that Paige is the general manager.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to see her over on SmackDown. And she's made some great matches so far since she's been over there.
Yes, she has.
One of them was our number 3 moment. This was Daniel Bryan. He teamed up this week with AJ Styles to take on Rusev and Aiden English. By the way, for as good as he really can sing, which is not that good, I think I could be Rusev's new manager.
I think you should do it.
Rusev Day.
That's just as good as Aiden English, right?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I look better. I'm not as pale. But the match ended up getting interrupted.
Yes.
Rusev looking a lot like Chong Li right now. Daniel Bryan with the knee. Wait a minute. Shinsuke Nakamura.
In the
Another
junks.
low blow to
Man.
Styles on the outside.
What is this deal with the junk
Maniacal
lately?
grin of Shinsuke. The referee didn't see it. He was focusing on the match with Daniel Bryan. Look. Oh, my God. Oh, Big Cass. What is he doing here?
That was so great because Daniel Bryan turns around, doesn't realize Big Cass is in the ring,
Yeah.
and he just lays him out. And there was a moment earlier in the show.
Yeah, backstage.
Yeah. And that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Where Big Cass is standing next to Daniel Bryan, and he says, I don't see what the big you're the one they're making all the big deal about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. But, man, a couple great things just about this moment is that you're continuing to see Daniel Bryan every week on SmackDown wrestling.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then you get him paired up with AJ Styles, and you're like, all right, man, this is even better. And, man, Rusev is big time over. Shinsuke's doing his thing. And then you have Big Cass, man, Superstar Shakeup.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I may have got my knee hurt, but I can still put a big boot to your face.
That guy is humongous.
Yeah, he is.
And now he's married to Carmella.
He is.
Wow. So good timing for him to show up now that his wife is the champion.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned it was a night where you might have saw people on Raw and SmackDown, and that brings us to our number 2 moment because we had a surprise. Samoa Joe shows up.
Yes.
And he ends up fighting Sin Cara.
Squash match.
Yeah, basically. Beats him, and then he gets on the mic because what's going to happen because he's fighting Roman Reigns at Backlash, possibly for the championship.
Right.
Also, he's got Seth Rollins at Royal Rumble, right?
At
for
the
the
greatest Royal
Intercontinental
Rumble, yeah.
Championship. So he may show up on SmackDown with both belts, and he talks about that.
What's ever left of Roman Reigns after Brock Lesnar beats his ass again, I personally will shred and put the big dog out to pasture for good.
Yeah, so that's number 2. And does it strike you odd, though, that they move him to SmackDown, but right in the middle of a new beef he's got going, with Roman? Or does it make sense because Backlash was coming up anyway? That's a mixed, and then all of the pay-per-views are going to be mixed from now on.
It makes total sense to me because, Joe is hurt. And, man, he is a huge star. People love Joe. they love Samoa Joe. And so it really doesn't surprise me too much, is because, the storylines are so fresh and so new.
Yeah.
For all the, we're post WrestleMania now. We're getting into the new season, the new storyline. So it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing more of Joe, because he can carry quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, man, whatever happens at the Greatest Royal Rumble. We don't know. It's not really a pay-per-view. It's more like a super show than anything. I mean, it's just a bunch of matches that, are they going to have significance moving forward, or are they not?
Right.
But more of Joe right now, because I've talked about it on the podcast before. I love Joe, man. I love him. So more of Joe right now is not a bad thing to me.
Who do you think he will hook up with at on SmackDown going forward?
Well, I think you can see. So we're going to talk about that in our rumor time.
Oh, okay.
Because
all right.
there's something that's been brewing for a while, and I want to bring it up there. But so let's pin that. Just put a little pin in that.
I will.
Brad.
I
Yeah.
would like to think that we're going to see Samoa Joe and Rusev, but we'll get to that here coming up. All right. That brings us to our number one SmackDown moment tonight. And it was pretty cool, because Shelton Benjamin comes out and I guess takes a heel turn, because him and Chad Gable are split up now.
Different brands.
Yeah. He's off to Raw. Sheldon stays, which we thought it was going to be like Big E or somebody like that.
Right.
And it looks like a New Day is still all
still
intact
together.
for
Yep.
now, at least.
Yep.
But he comes out, and because he had put out a tweet the night before wishing, Chad the best.
Right.
Well, he comes out and he says, "I got hacked," and I was basically carrying him, and
Right.
puts him down and yada yada, and says, "Now I get all the opportunities." So Randy Orton comes out in order to face him, because he had asked Paige for some competition.
Right.
Whoops, not RKO.
Well, Randy actually did walk down.
He did. He was standing
This
out
is
there.
The superstar shakeup. One night removed from winning the United States title from Jinder Mahal, Jeff Hardy is here on SmackDown Live.
Winning the United States title from Jinder Mahal on Monday Night Raw.
This is nuts.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So Jeff Hardy comes out, ends up beating Shelton Benjamin, but that was just great. I thought, going into it, I even wrote it on our Facebook page. We're kind of talking about some of the things that we thought were going to happen. I thought Jeff was going to go to SmackDown because of two things. Brought the U.S. title back to SmackDown. And I feel like with what's going on with Matt, it's probably better with this whole woken Matt and broken Matt, or whatever it is now, and Bray.
Yeah.
I thought it was better rather than get Jeff into all that, or even be, every week we're wondering, is it going to be Brother
even
Nero?
close to it. Yeah.
Yeah, a little separation is probably good if they weren't going to bring him into that whole storyline, and I'm glad they didn't.
Especially if they're really going to push Matt and Bray together.
Yeah.
Like, then push them. Let them do that. But that's a story. The storyline is the U.S. title going back to SmackDown, where it was, maybe where it belongs, right? And, man, Jeff is – it's kind of like we said with Samoa, Samoa Joe. More Jeff is okay too, because these two guys are huge, man. You hear the crowd, the way they react to him.
Yeah.
And just that, Monday night you got the huge pop, and then Tuesday night you got the huge pop for him. He's got to feel like $1 million, man. He comes back from injury, all the other stuff, and now he's the U.S. champion, and he is one of the main players on SmackDown Live.
I got to say, probably my honorable mention for the night has to be a hilarious moment where R-Truth I should have got the
That's
audio.
where we should have got the audio.
I should have got the audio, because R-Truth comes out and he's talking to a couple of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
And Ty Dillinger, right? And the New Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and he's like, "Yeah, I'm so glad to be on Monday Night Raw." And they're like, "It's Tuesday night and it's SmackDown." He's like, "Oh." And he's like, he's running off, and he's like, "I'll see you guys tomorrow."
My bad.
Yeah,
Still
thinking he was on Monday Night Raw.
Gotta love
Are we going to
R-Truth,
see
man.
R-Truth wrestle, or was that just a little of a little cameo?
I will see him from time to time again. I mean, I think that, he was actually injured a while back, and he's back healthy, ready to go. And no matter what you do with R-Truth, he actually had a title run a while back. Didn't do a bad job with it. Fought Cena. And I don't think he's there where you go put him in a major title kind of match.
Right.
But as far as like A, comic relief, and B, a veteran that can maybe carry a young guy with all these NXT guys coming up. Hey, I think he could really shine and have some moments, and you know what, man, people love R-Truth when he comes out and he's singing "What's Up,"
Yeah, that was hilarious. Do you have an honorable mention for SmackDown?
I just think the whole show and the whole thing was I guess it's Carmella getting her moment.
Yeah.
And she has that what did she call it? Makes me laugh. The Melibration.
Yeah, the Melibration.
And they even had the hashtag Melibration. Charlotte comes out and confronts her, and you think, oh, this is going to be really bad for Carmella. And then the Iconics come out and join the fun with her. And then Becky Lynch got a bunch of heat last week for not coming out to help Charlotte. Well, she shows up, and it turns into be a big old brawl. And but it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad segment because Carmella was kind of not getting a whole lot of crowd reaction. And it's surprisingly so because she's a major heel. She plays it really well.
Yeah.
But Charlotte comes out, that helps. The Iconics come out, they're new and fresh and hot, that helps. And Becky Lynch, comes to help as well. And then on top of it, they're kind of getting their ass kicked a little bit. And who shows up back on SmackDown? She is now drafted. We're going to get to it, but as Asuka. And so those three women, which is a little weird as Charlotte and Asuka just had that big match at WrestleMania, but they're there and they kind of wipe the floor with the rest of those other girls.
Yeah, and we called Asuka going to SmackDown. We thought it was going to happen after she won the championship. Instead, she had her streak ended. But Charlotte stays on SmackDown, and Asuka's there now. So, but they're not going to fight yet, at least, because right now they're on the same side. Who knows? One might betray the other, and then we're going to have a sweet storyline going.
Yeah, and I think too, this is just kind of my view of what the overview of, Ronda's the big, huge name on Raw, right? And Nia Jax is champion; she's earned it. Bliss is still there. Bayley and Sasha, but Ronda's like the big name right now in the women's division, and it seems like Charlotte and Asuka are the two top other women, all together. If you mash them all together, and you kind of want to separate that a little bit, build that buzz for Ronda, allow that big just babyface run for her, and then it'll be interesting to see what these Charlotte and Asuka and Becky Lynch do together.
Still got a lot to talk about, but the segments here, the Raw and SmackDown stories of the week, they're brought to you by our buddies at Cadell & Company.
Yeah, they are.
And Corey, we played basketball with him. Well, he's got a business that basically they do home improvements, and right now home values are going up. So they say it's the best time to turn your home improvement dreams into reality with Cadell & Company. They've got a showroom out in Norman.
Very nice.
Yeah, they don't have any salespeople, which is kind of cool.
Oh, you don't get that big, like, oh my gosh, here comes a salesperson then.
Yeah, right. So they're all family owned and operated.
Yeah.
That way, when you're checking out, they've got, in their showroom, they got wood flooring, tile flooring, carpet, cabinets, countertops, and more. And like you said, no pressure. They're not going to sit there and, in fact, they're going to help you make a good choice and then see it through till you get it installed, because they do offer that. If you're like me, I mean, we're doing the show from my house today. You can look around. I've redone everything in this house, but not very good.
Well, it's good to have somebody that's going to walk you all the way through the steps.
Yeah, that's what they are going to do. So you should check them out. They've been doing commercial construction for over 20 years. So
wow. Yeah,
now they're doing all the stuff inside your own home, so you can get these home improvement projects completed. Give them a call, 928-5026. If you're listening outside of Oklahoma City, it's 405-928-5026. And they have a Facebook page, Cadell & Company, so go give them a like and check out, like, they've got the pictures of the showroom, pictures of some before and after projects that they've done. They did work for the Norman Fire Department, the historical preservation of the Jim Thorpe building around OU on the campus. So, and here's a great deal if you're really wanting to get, the materials and stuff. Mention the Oh Yeah Wrestling podcast. They'll give you 10% off.
Wow. Yeah. I'm getting better than that.
Yeah, like I said.
This is the greatest podcast ever.
Yeah, like the flooring, the tiles. I mean, all that adds up. But They'll do it, and their materials are good quality materials that won't bust your budget.
There
So
you go. Absolutely.
give them a call, Cadell and Company. Will, tonight your voice has sounded pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
You got a lot of bass in your voice tonight.
Samoa Joe, he was part of this big superstar shakeup.
Sure was.
We talked a little bit about earlier, I kind of teased a tag team that left.
Yep.
And that was the Bar. Were
Yeah.
you surprised by that? I was shocked, actually.
Well, here's why I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have the Bar, who is one of the most dominating tag teams in recent history.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And at WrestleMania, they fought Braun Strowman and Nicholas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I might still be a little sour about that. I hope, that might bleed through a little bit here. But here's the real reason why I don't think it's a huge surprise. You can go with me on this. Let me know. Comment on the Facebook page. Tell me I'm crazy or tell me you agree with me. Either way, is that how do you not damage the product, right? So that Sheamus and Cesaro, the Bar, they just don't set the bar. They are the bar.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you not damage what that is for what that great tag team is? And, you basically get beat by one guy, and it is Braun Strowman. It's a Monster Among Men. But, you basically get beat by one guy. And so how does that not damage? Well, you switch them brands. And now the storyline's like, that's just kind of past you. Somebody might make a joke about it at some point in time, but they get to move brands and they get to go attack the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And I don't think maybe that's a bad move for them. Maybe a bad move for Raw, but maybe not for them.
Yeah. So I would imagine going forward, we'll probably see a lot of the Bar and maybe like the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a big bruiser type tag team match.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. It's just weird to me because I really thought that the Bar were probably the top tag team on Raw. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not sure who that is right now. Is it Bray and Matt?
I don't know.
I mean, I think that it's too new of a team to say that, but I feel like maybe that's who they're going to push.
Yeah, it's a really good possibility, and we're going to be able to see some. Breezango is now on Raw,
And they got to win.
They got to win. I don't know if that's really going to be if they're going to end up being top guys or
Yeah.
not, but they're going to be there. The Ascension, is on Raw. But we'll get, we're going to talk about, we're in the Superstar Shakeup discussion. And if it's so quick, let's just go through the list really quick, man. Give everybody exactly who is on the Superstar Shakeup in Raw and SmackDown.
Right. And I'm sure on that list, we're going to get to the Balor Club.
Yeah, we will. Because I got something to say about that.
All right.
All right. But just these are the moves for people that were on SmackDown or NXT, and they're coming up, and we're going to see them on Monday Night Raw. We heard the Jinder Mahal story, right? And so, he's going to have some vengeance, and he's going to have some heat. He's going to be upset, and will he have a feud with Kurt Angle?
That'd be cool.
Just as far as like GM versus, authority versus wrestler kind of thing. We have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Where is their story going to play out? We talked about Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. I'm really excited about that.
Me too.
Natalya. This is one we haven't mentioned yet, which is Baron Corbin. I know he's your favorite wrestler, right?
Yeah.
No, he's your favorite, Brad.
I think Baron and Aiden ought to go wrestle somewhere else together, but like way far away. Maybe in Japan or something.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is that Vince McMahon is really high on Corbin as a major player.
Like really high?
Well,
Like-
he might be high, but they gave him that
Tomorrow's
whole,
420. Yeah.
It is. Super Troopers 2 comes out too, by the way.
Oh, you reminded me.
Yes.
All right.
But Vince McMahon really likes Corbin because
Mm-hmm.
it seems to be that way. Anyway. He got the whole video package, you
Yeah.
know. So I mean, it's not like he just said, "And your next guy going to Raw is Baron Corbin." No,
Yeah.
he got a whole video package. This one is going to be really cool. I think it's going to be a good move for him because I think he was starting to fizzle out just a little bit, which is Bobby Roode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily think he was fizzling, but he wasn't achieving the kind of success we thought after Jinder, beat him. Didn't Jinder beat him?
Yeah, he won the
No.
title at WrestleMania. Yeah, it was.
But Orton had beat him for the title first. So go ahead.
But I just see a heel turn for Bobby Roode and perfect timing for it. Brand split. or shake up. And, we've seen Bobby Roode in NXT play that heel character, that nasty heel character really well. So I think we're going to see that. This was the one we did say it, Shelton Benjamin, kind of says he carried the tag team, but Chad Gable is going to Raw. And, man, we have seen a few matches of Chad Gable. And, man, the way that kid throws suplexes and that wrestling mentality that he has, that, Olympic-style wrestling that he has, I could see him being a big force in, like, the Intercontinental Championship run. I think they're going to give him a good singles run, keep him away from the tag team for a while, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what he does and what kind of chance. The chance is going to be there, but what does he do with that chance,
Right.
And this is another guy that I think will, where does Jason Jordan end up? They were a former tag team in NXT, was in on SmackDown.
Yeah, that was
Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. So we'll see where that goes through. And I'm going through these kind of fast just for time, but
Sure.
Riot Squad, we talked about them.
Right.
I'm really excited about the Riot Squad on Raw. You got Mojo Riley. He just stays hyped all the time. He's got Zack Ryder coming over too. I think that, Zack Ryder's going to stay exactly where he was as a mid-card guy. Fans like him, man, but he's a mid-card guy. You got Breezango, The Ascension, and then Mike Kanellis, who he had a baby. I think him and his wife had some issues with the baby, and so he's back now. And so that's the moves for Raw. We'll see where everybody plays out and where it shakes out. And just moving to SmackDown really quick, Brad, is we got The Miz, we got Samoa Joe, we have Asuka, we have Jeff Hardy, The Bar, Andrade with Selena Vega, who is
CN.
Yeah, man, big time player in NXT.
Yeah,
and now he dropped the belt to Aleister Black, and he's coming up, and that's going to be really exciting to see. Absolution.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
No Way Jose.
No Way Jose. Yeah.
Where did this guy come from?
I think, he was in NXT.
Okay.
And he's a big fan favorite, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of tell the way that everybody bounces,
Yeah.
bounces around. But Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, they're coming over. Sanity, which is a bunch of guys from NXT, are going to come up.
Is that Killian Dane? That's he part of that?
Eric Young and they had a Nikki Cross was the female manager-ish kind of thing that kind of walked with Sanity.
Yeah.
And she's kind of out of the group, but Eric Young and the gang, they're going to be up there.
Which one is Killian Dane? Because he's coming, right?
Yes.
To SmackDown?
Yes.
Okay.
And
yeah, I mean, but isn't he part of a group, or is he just big and hairy all on his own?
He's part of that Sanity group.
Oh, okay. So he is part of Sanity. Yeah. Okay.
Then this is where I didn't understand because Gallows and Anderson are going to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened with the Balor Club.
The Bullet Club?
Yeah. Well, they put them together.
They're
not allowed to say that.
Yeah, but he did. He slipped up and said it on the air.
I don't know, man. The Good Brothers, they're really talented. The people kind of like him. So, what happens there? I don't know. Was the Balor Club, is the Balor Club to fans? Is that's what it's turning into?
Probably.
No matter what your race, your gender, your, obviously with the rainbow on his jacket, no matter who you are, you're welcome in the Balor Club. And then you had the Good Brothers, who kind of abrasive and calling people nerds. And, I guess that doesn't fit together.
To me, I never thought that they fit, really. Like, I didn't think it was a great fit other than they were his muscle, And he doesn't I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get a new Balor Club or, like you said, it might just be
the universe.
Yeah. I wanted to. Did you have any more that you had to?
Just Big Cass and Sin Cara.
Oh, sure.
And then R-Truth, and that rounds out.
I wanted to read just a couple comments from some of our people on Facebook.
Yeah.
Rashinda Silva. She said that it didn't excite her for Raw, but she was hoping that Balor, Rollins, and Asuka would go to SmackDown. So she got 1 out of 3 on that one. And then Jordan Knutson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Our good buddy Jordan on the podcast.
He said, not loving this, sir. And then he said the reason why. He said, so they moved Joe to SmackDown, which means the following. Brock will beat Roman, or Roman will beat Brock and Joe. Joe can't take the title to SmackDown because then both major titles would be there. So the Saudi Arabia and Backlash stuff feels like a foregone conclusion now. But we kind of talked about what we think is a little bit counter to that, in that we see the titles swapping between shows.
Yeah.
So that, we'll see, Jordan. And then, So we had another one here I wanted to read. Nick Butterfield, who also comments a lot on our Facebook. He said Gallows and Anderson should have stayed on Raw. The Revival should have gone to SmackDown. So just kind of going along with what you were talking about just now.
Yeah, wouldn't have been a bad move, and we'll see what happens either way. But man, we appreciate people commenting and just being a part of this, man. It's it kind of affects everybody in a different way. You got your favorites and who you want, and but that's what's great about this podcast is, and on the Facebook page we all get to interact and we get to just kind of bitch about what we don't like.
Well, is it time to get dirty?
I think it is.
Dirt sheets and rumors.
All right, Will, you check out, this is, your forte here. You check out all the dirt sheets and rumors and everything floating around. Let me ask you this real quick, because I know sometimes I jump the gun and bring things up before you get to it. Do we know yet what's happened with Jericho and the Royal Rumble, the greatest Royal Rumble?
Well, so we had everything go down. We had Rusev saying, Rusev was going to fight The Undertaker in the casket match, okay? And, so I posted on the Facebook page, Happy Rusev Day!
Rusev Day!
And then something happens, and Rusev puts a tweet out that says, bury me softly.
Yeah.
And so we don't know, in the rumor mill was that the WWE was worried that it rubbed The Undertaker the wrong way. And then he also had this interview on TMZ where it was kind of taken out of context, because if you watch the interview on TMZ, he's actually pretty professional, and there's no reason for him not to he carried the company well.
And didn't TMZ misquote him? Because I think they had said
they would never do that, Brad.
Well, I believe I had read something to the effect that they had said he was going to crush his old ass.
Well,
and he didn't actually
he's a wrestler.
That. Even if he did, sure.
Yeah.
But man, this whole thing sounds so weird that The Undertaker and his wife would be that, I guess, self-conscious about his age, or I don't know. So I would think that this all just makes for better drama.
Well, you would think it
drama,
and you would think it would, but one of the other reports had said that, man, WWE don't call Undertaker old. Don't make him feel like he's, old news and that kind of stuff. But he's not. He's one of the biggest superstars ever. He's got the presence. He's the Undertaker, man. And he's the dead man. And no matter if you started watching wrestling in the 90s and know exactly that he showed up at a Royal Rumble that many years ago, and now he had a squash match with John Cena at WrestleMania 34.
Yeah.
Whatever you are, you know who the Undertaker is, and that he's the dead man, and he's awesome. At the same time, this seems to be a little sensitive situation, because then all of a sudden Chris Jericho's going to be, and then he puts out some artwork that a fan did for him, and he says, hey, I'm undefeated at casket matches, and then 2 days later, the next day, I'm not sure exactly how long, it kind of all blended together, that no, just kidding, it's going to be Rusev again, and all is well, and we're going to see these two. And here's the other thing, last thing I'll say about it, is it didn't make any sense from the get-go of why they were pushing there's no storyline behind it.
Right, you're right.
It's just a match at a super show in Saudi Arabia, which I'm excited to watch. I want to see it. But what does it matter? It doesn't matter. And, so did Chris Jericho change his mind, or the who knows, man?
It's just so weird. Like I say, if The Undertaker was mad, then he should do
something. We've been waiting on The Undertaker to do that for so long.
Or instead of canceling it and putting Jericho on the match and, getting my hopes up, get him on a conference call or something and just, get it all out in the open and say, hey, are you mad? Are you mad? Did I hurt your feelings, bro? It's just such a weird story. And then, like I say, though, still no word of, does Jericho get added to this casket match somehow? Which I doubt is going to happen now, because they're not promoting that at all.
No.
But
no word from Jericho.
No word at all.
Now, Jericho, I haven't listened to it. This was just something I saw right as you were getting ready for a few things on the show, because you're the awesome tech guy and editor on
Not
this.
an awesome tech guy today.
But so Jericho, I think, had said something on his podcast here recently because we had the great Bruno Sammartino pass away at 82 years old. And man, he had a great story. If you ever get the chance to go on the WWE Network, and he did a dinner with, if it was a dinner for three, I think it was, and Randy Orton was a part of it. And he talked about his childhood, man, and how when he was a kid, there was war going on. He had to hide out, and now how he got to the country, and then he became one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I know that's a side note, but man, be sure to check out his story. He is definitely worth watching. He paved the way for a lot of these guys. But I don't know, man. I don't know where it all ends up. But we do know that the Greatest Royal Rumble is going to be Friday, and it's going to be in Saudi Arabia, and it's going to be really long.
Yeah.
We do know that. Because you're talking about a 50-man Royal Rumble.
Ooh.
That's going to last a while. Might be good, though. Maybe they'll clear ring fast. Who knows? And then you have, including the Royal Rumble, 9 matches.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long show, and you should probably just sit back and enjoy it. It does start at noon Central Time, which is, right in the middle of the workday. But, hey, it's on the network. You can catch it when you get home. Grab a beer.
Yeah.
Start watching it, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Friday night.
Absolutely. Because it is. It's like a little bonus pay-per-view we're
It
getting
is.
out of nowhere, really.
Like an RKO.
Yeah. Ooh. Any other rumors on the list for today?
Yeah, one of the things that we've been looking for with the Superstar shakeup, would we see Dean Ambrose, right?
Oh yeah.
Some of the reports is that his injuries kind of nagging and just kind of still being around. Take that for whatever it's worth. Like I said, these are rumors that we don't know, but it would seem odd that it may be true that it is because he's having a really hard, time getting back in, and he wasn't part of that Superstar shakeup as far as what we saw on TV. And they were actually advertising for him to be in South Africa on this tour that they're going on.
Right.
And they talked about he's going to be on there, but it seems to be a little bit premature. And so now the next speculation is he going to come back for SummerSlam? Well, man, that's a few months away. That's a while away. So maybe he's, we just hope the best for Dean, man. Love to see. I hope he comes back next week because that's, Lunatic Fringe is fun to watch. So we just wish him the best and hope that it's not true. That is just a rumor, and man, he's coming back strong. But the last thing that I want to talk to you about, Brad, was that here it is, man. This was on Sportskeeda.com, one of the places that a lot of these come from. And the thing about Sportskeeda is I've seen some stuff that's right. I've seen some stuff that's way off. So everybody, like I said, this is fun. Read these rumors for what they are, make your own decision. But when I read this, I was like, this is cool, man. This is some matches that could be dream matches from this Superstar shakeup, okay? One of them, is it a dream match because it's going to happen? I think it's going to happen fairly soon, is The Miz versus Daniel Bryan. That's going to happen,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really good. We're going to see in some of these dream matches, which would be Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Man, that could be a killer match, man.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So,
Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles would be great too.
Yeah. Yes. That thing about what you said, how you like to jump the gun a little bit.
Oh, did I just jump it?
One of these days, Brad, I'll be the host of this show.
Hey, as soon as you get a little
bass in your voice.
But this is one, Woken Matt Hardy versus KO. I don't know where that could go if you had, him and Bray Wyatt versus KO and Sami Zayn kind of thing.
Yeah.
That could be an interesting setup. This is the one that I really liked, and before I get to the very last match of what we kind of put a pin on earlier, okay? Bobby Roode versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship.
I like that matchup.
Bobby Roode heel turn, Seth the babyface. Woo, man. That
Seth
could be
the heel?
He's done it before.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see Bobby Roode do the heel. I really do. I think it's time for him to be. And Seth is carrying the babyface role. Great.
Yeah.
People are going nuts for Seth right now.
Absolutely. And it would make more sense to me with Bobby because, the whole glorious thing can go cocky.
Yes, it can.
Real quick. I mean, it is already, but, glorious, cocky. I'll just leave that out there for
Just
you.
leave it hanging. Because here's the last.
Stupid. All right, go ahead.
Family-friendly podcast.
Yeah.
And then this is it. This is a feud 15 years in the making. There's been heat between these guys. They were on Ring of Honor. And now we could see Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan.
That would be pretty dope.
Man, I think that would be an incredible match. You're talking about the brute force of Samoa Joe, right?
Yeah.
Versus the high-flying, you can't catch me, I'm going to put a knee to your face, kind of Daniel Bryan. And the crowd, man, could you think of the split that would happen? Because Samoa Joe's a heel, but people still chant Joe. But Daniel Bryan and people adore him.
Yeah.
And with the yes chants. So I think now that could be way later on down the road, but we're just talking about dream matches here. Man, what a that would be awesome, man.
That would be great. So your dirt sheets and rumors brought to you by our friends at Cadell and Company, and we talked about them a little bit earlier, but like I say, now is the time to get your home improvement projects going. The weather's starting to get a little bit nicer, so home values are going up. Do you and your family, do y'all watch like the shows on TV, the home improvement shows?
Yes.
We do too. And so, we'll watch it and we'll sit there and be like, man, I want to do that and I want to do that. Well, Cadell and Company can actually make that happen.
Yeah,
so,
they make those dreams come true, huh?
Yeah. You just got to, you can go check out their showroom. They're in Norman. And on their Facebook page, you can check them out, Cadell and Company. You can get the directions down to their showroom. But they've got wood floors. They've got tile floors, cabinets, carpet, countertops. So all of that. Everybody wants, you can look at my cabinets in there. They need some granite horribly. Horribly. So I'm going to call Cadell and Company too, because like I say, they got all those materials in their showroom. They're quality materials, but they're not going to bust your budget.
Yeah.
They're just a family-owned company who wants to see you happy from the time that you walk in till the time that everything's installed. I mean, you don't have to get it installed. If you like to do it yourself, they still got great materials for you to work with. But if you're like me, I want them to go put it in because I want it done right. So you can definitely trust Cadell and Company. Give them a call, 405-928-5026. Again, that's 405-928-5026. I mentioned this earlier. They've done projects on the Norman Fire Department, the historical preservation of the Jim Thorpe building. So, I mean, if they trust them.
Yeah.
Cadell and Company, if you mention the Oh Yeah Wrestling podcast, they're going to give you 10% off of their materials.
Get out of here.
I know. That's pretty. I'm going to have to go in there and do it myself. Like, the Oh Yeah Wrestling podcast.
Yeah. Because if you spend $1,000,
Yeah.
you get $100 off your bill.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm doing home improvements, $100 means a lot.
Oh, yeah, it does. I know when I do them, it's, and like I say, the great thing is if they don't install it, they'll still be there to help you out.
That's nice.
And
yeah.
like me, I'm doing these projects. I had to go to the store like 8 times before the project is over because I am not good at this.
Not a professional.
So, if I at least had somebody instructing me or giving me some advice, that would be much needed.
Because they're professionals, right, Brad?
Oh, yeah.
They've been doing this. You said commercial for how long?
Well, they've been doing commercial construction for 20 years. They're 4th-generation builders.
Oh, okay. So
So
there's no reason not to call these guys.
No.
Get it done right. Man, get the great material that you need. Get perfection with Cadell and Company. And it's great to have them as a sponsor for the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast. And don't forget, 10% off if you mention our podcast, the Oh Yeah Wrestling Podcast. Go in, see them. Great people. Man, they are a huge part of the show, and we're excited to have them aboard.
Man, Will, we're almost done.
Yeah,
with
we're wrapping up.
The greatest podcast of all time.
You know what we need is like the echoey voice. The greatest podcast of all time. And it's all echoey. I think you need to work on that.
I think actually by the time they hear this, I'll have put that echo on your voice. Yeah. I do want to mention a couple things, though. The Andre the Giant documentary came out on HBO. We won't get into it right now.
No, just
but it
go
was
watch it.
Awesome. It was amazing.
So well done.
And when I was a kid, I loved Andre the Giant. I loved Hulk Hogan. But I didn't realize that he was already doing this. He was already a big star before Hulk Hogan and them had, and just the extent of his travel and actually how uncomfortable it was. And the amount of beer and alcohol that man could drink was ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I wouldn't even suggest anyone try to duplicate that. But it was an amazing, heartbreaking joyous at times, but it was
and
great.
I would say this is like, it's not all from the WWE lens either. It's about his life. So if you want to take off those WWE glasses, I say that to a couple of fans sometimes, take those off and realize that, man, this guy had an incredible life.
Yeah.
That he laughed a lot, cried a lot, man, had family, and please, not to get too much into it, but please, 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 HBO documentary, Andre the Giant, check it out. Totally worth your time.
Now, man, I apologize because I get invites to some of these, and I may have misplaced one. I think that there's a wrestling event going on tomorrow, but I won't be able to make it out to that.
In Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah. I think it is, or maybe at one of the casinos. I could be completely wrong here, but the one I do know that we're going to go to next is coming up May 11th.
Yeah.
It's Mid-Southwest Wrestling Alliance at the Old Farmers Market, where we've seen a couple of their shows. Last time they were in a different room because there was like a concert going on upstairs.
Right.
And so it was cool because I was kind of listening to that music and I was also watching the wrestling.
Getting the show, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they put on a great show.
Able to meet a couple of them this past time.
Yeah.
And talk to them, man. And just good dudes, put on a great show. And if you are in Oklahoma City or close to it, go check out these guys, man. I mean, tickets were crazy affordable.
And what I want to mention, too, is if you get them from the wrestlers, they actually make a little bit of money off of that.
That's a
great, those guys don't make a whole lot of money doing this. They're doing this for the passion, for the love. And, so anything helps. Because, like I used to be in a band that played locally and stuff. And I've noticed a lot of the same parallels. We had to sell our own tickets, too.
Yep.
So help those guys out. Find them on Facebook, Drake Gallows and those guys. Help them out and buy the tickets directly from them. But, yeah, like I said, like the tickets are like $10.
Yeah.
And then ringside's $12. So you can't beat that. Also, they've got them, if you're not going to take our advice and say screw the business, then they're available on StubWire too. But Friday, May 11th at 7:30, me and Will, unless something else prevents us, that's the plan, is we're going to be there.
Yeah, we like to be there, man, and it's cool that we've connected some of these guys on Facebook.
Yeah, they're cool
like
guys.
They like the podcast, but just on our personal pages as well. Go support. If you're out of the Oklahoma City area, so you're like, I can't get there, there is a local wrestling show, pro wrestling show somewhere near you.
Yeah.
Go check it out, man. If you love this industry the way that we do, the business that we do, and just want to be a part of it, go find your own local. This is about having fun. Man, I took one of my sons to one of these shows, and he had a blast, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Hey, you can find the greatest podcast in the world of all time, however we want to phrase it.
The greatest podcast ever.
Man, there's a lot of good podcasts out there, though. But we're the best. So
it's hard being the best, man. But we got big shoulders. We can handle it.
Yeah, you can listen to us on SoundCloud. Also, we're on iTunes podcasts, YouTube. If you go to our Facebook page, you can find links to all those. And sometimes, actually all the time, I'll put a little video up where you can listen to it directly from Facebook. So all these are good opportunities for you to listen, download, subscribe, and share with your friends.
Please do. Sharing is caring. We say that a lot. And you know what? We'd love to hear from you, too. Be interactive on our Facebook page. We'll always respond back. And, man, we appreciate everybody that listens, the fans of the show. And we got many, many more podcasts to come.
Will, you have a great rest of your week.
You too, buddy.
You got a lot of bass in your voice tonight.